Greetings and welcome back, everyone. This is Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinsoul, and joining me tonight, as always, is Kyle Ferguson. Welcome back, Kyle.
Thank you. Good to be here.
I guess technically Happy New Year. Isn't this our first episode of 2016?
Yeah, happy 2016.
Like, in years past, we used to take a break around the time of the holidays. That didn't happen this year, so it doesn't seem like this is anything different. It seems like we just did one of these last week.
Yeah, but we're professionals now, right? And lots of people were working anyway, so I'm sure people were happy there were shows to consume.
I hope some people were. I'm just going to assume that. I'm sure there were some people who were like, "Oh man, why'd they do? Why?
There's nothing going on in the game." No, actually, we had some pretty packed episodes there.
Yeah, we did. It was a busy holiday season. Even though we were getting no official word from anyone, as a matter of fact, like this week it was like the unleashing of the Browder. Like Dustin got back on Twitter and was just, "Whoa, answer all the things," including a tweet from Garrett.
Hit the office hard.
Yeah,
hit it very hard.
Yeah. The chat room's already asking if I'm going to discuss Dustin Browder's response to my tweet. There's not much to discuss other than there's not enough characters to have the discussion I was hoping to have. But I will say this to you, Mr. Browder. If you don't get why I thought that was an unfair matchup, then your rank system is not working. It is placebo, and I am reacting to the placebo in kind.
Fair enough. But placebos are usually positive things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not part of the definition, right? I mean, you can. I don't mean to grammar you or anything. That's not the intent. Honestly, I'm going to do my best today. But Garrett, I just finished building my new rig, and
nice.
And I've got games on the mind, man. All games. I've been installing all the old ones. Fallout. Dragon Age Inquisition. I didn't even know there were particle effects in that game.
Oh, really? Oh my God, you played it without the spell effects are probably the best thing about that game, because
we powered through it, and like we cooked dinner in between load screens. And when it was like, go back to your base and build a tower in the thing. Okay, cool. Go back to and you're like, nope, not doing that quest. Skip it. I've already loaded into this realm, and damn it, I'm gonna do everything here before I have to leave. But now, solid state, graphics, oh, it's so awesome. Everything's at maximum. Streams look fantastic. I am overwhelmed.
Cheesy Bob in the chat room makes a really good point. No SIBO is totally a thing.
Yeah.
Instead of fuzzy, get it?
I get it.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, dude, we just had a huge Steam sale. All kinds of, it's a good time to be a gamer. I bought myself all of the Star Wars and X-Wing games.
Fair enough. So that means basically for the next 10 years of Steam sales, you won't have anything to buy.
Pretty much. Yeah. Because at this point, I mean, at some point, Grand Theft Auto 5, the PC version, will get cheap enough that I feel like buying it. But since I already paid full price for it on PlayStation 3 all the way back when it originally came out, what was that? I think it was down to $35. Not worth picking up for me.
Yeah.
For me, I would like to get on PC and see it in all its glory, because it's pretty on PC. But that's neither here nor there. So, before we get into the meat of this show, I want to let our patrons know that we are doing another code giveaway. If you are finding yourself with a dearth of Diablo in your hero's life, we got you covered. Luckily, listener Ryan donated a Diablo code that he had sitting around and wanted us to find a good home for it. So patrons, when this episode 84 gets posted on the Patreon, just comment, post in the comment section, so I don't say comment twice in the same sentence, and we'll pick a winner.
Nice,
good stuff. So, with that in mind, I believe we can now move full steam ahead into this week's Heroes of the Storm news.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
Can Stitches play now?
Yeah, I love it when... Oh, cigar fell in the... Oh, wait!
That pretty much sums up my Hero League experience from the last few weeks.
Oh, no. I'm so sad that the cigar is gone just for the exchange that Lenora and Tychus could have had about burning plant matter next to her.
That would have been good. I thought you were going like a Smokey the Bear route. Like, only you, literally you, Tychus, I'm calling you out by name, can prevent World Tree fires.
Right. Dragonfire.
Dragon, there you go. Except it wouldn't be Dragonfire. It'd be a good old brush fire. Which in the land of Azeroth is probably a dull affair.
Well, I don't know. There are those forests in World of Warcraft that have been burning for 3 straight years.
That's a good point. That is a good point. But that's
Well, in general, in video game, fires are rather, liberal, right? You go into those Duggar tombs in Skyrim, and there's candles everywhere.
Yep.
And who lit them? And they're candles. They go out in 4 hours.
Yes, you're right. I distinctly remember looking at candle burning times going into the wedding. Hey, is this going to burn long enough? Things I never thought I'd have to check. So, anyways, big news this week is that Activision Blizzard have purchased Major League Gaming for $46 million, acquiring a majority of their assets. This means that Activision will have access to MLG's infrastructure, streaming software, and much more. MLG co-founder and CEO Sundance DiGiovanni is also heading to Activision Blizzard as a result of this purchase, which means Activision Blizzard has completed their collection of MLG co-founders.
Apparently.
Yeah. This is something that's been going on for a while. Happened back in October. They hired MLG's other co-founder, Mike Sepso. They also hired Steve Bornstein, who was the NFL Network's chief executive. So big esports push by Activision Blizzard. We had that, they announced that they're starting a whole brand new esports division. I'm anxious to see where this goes. They've got access to a lot of really good tools now. I know you and I, as of late, have not really watched a whole lot of MLG because, ironically enough, they stopped doing Blizzard games. But back in the day when we were hardcore into StarCraft, I still thought they had some of the best streaming technology. I loved the multi-stream view and all that kind of stuff.
There's definitely been some oddities over the past couple of years. I mean, we had Jesse Cox go over there, and they kind of underutilized him, and he just sort of dropped out of their esports department. So with more and more acquisitions coming together and even bigger, sort of title leading names getting involved, who knows what they're up to? My fear is that they're going to underutilize them. We're going to see a similar situation we saw before where they get a whole production team together and they just don't really do anything with it. Or maybe they just put together really nice streams for their events, but that's not the dream. Because streams happen all the time. There are individuals with wonderful quality streams. MLG made the choice, probably because it was cheaper in the past, to divert itself to almost entirely streaming based. They had their New York office. It was cool. The StarCraft tournaments were fun coming out of there, but they started putting up all these walls and doing more invite-only tournaments. And if you're not familiar with invite-only tournaments, if you don't watch a lot of esports, they can be very exciting because there are probably a couple of pro players you really want to see face off against one another. But at the same time, it does lead to sort of a stagnant community and matches that sometimes don't matter because the players are invited and they're going to get paid anyway, so they don't give it their all. Or you just have two people who were great 6 months ago, and now they meet on the field of battle and they don't really have anything to give. And they end up getting steamrolled by the new kid in town or someone who's been winning more recently. So, with MLG, I have a dream. And I'm hoping this ties into what we talked about last week. Blizzard saying that they're going to give more opportunities for high MMR players to show their skill in an esports environment, which MLG used to run these amazing live events. They were just, there hasn't been anything like it. Just fields of computers where people would sit down, have it out, and over the course of the weekend, you would have a champion that rose up from nowhere, or sometimes a pro player who defended their own and continued to win until the end. And then, of course, you had those upsets where some pro player, everyone's been watching him for months, gets in the pit at MLG and just gets destroyed by some random Protoss guy. It was usually some random Protoss guy.
I hate to be that guy, Kyle. But this sounds a whole lot to me like another significantly larger live event that happens everywhere else in the world but here, except this year it is happening here, DreamHack.
Ah, yes. Yeah, DreamHack still pulls it off, don't they? They've been localized for a while, though. So it's understandable why MLG dropped off of that, having to do multiple locations and different convention centers. It got messy. There was a fun aspect of it, though, when like the Halo guys would be about 50 feet away and the StarCraft guys were all yelling, and then the Halo guys would yell louder for their game, and then the StarCraft guys would start going even more nuts, and the whole room would just explode.
I liked it because back in the day of the notoriously just stupid long downtime in between StarCraft matches, I wouldn't have to relocate. I could just turn my head slightly to the right and watch a fantastic game of Halo.
Right, or turn to the left and see some Street Fighter going on.
We are, of course, talking about attending an MLG in person, where
right.
it'd be kind of silly if you were doing that at home, or you have an awesome 3-monitor setup where you're literally watching StarCraft center screen, Halo on the right, and Call of Duty on the left, or a fighting game of some sort.
Or you're from the future and you have an Oculus Rift.
Yes. Not too far in the future anymore.
No.
However, in that future, you will have to possess at least $600 plus tax.
The future has always been expensive, Garrett.
That it has. I really want one, though.
That's my favorite part of Back to the Future, when Doc Brown comes back and says, "I need money," and starts digging through Marty's wallet.
For a second, I'm like, that doesn't happen. What are you talking? And I'm like, oh wait, one of those Kyle,
Just ride with it.
From behind. Yeah,
don't spend too much time on it.
I get what you're saying. Anyway, so big news. Interested to see where it goes. I get your concerns, Kyle, but something tells me there's got to be they've got to utilize the talent and the infrastructure that they just purchased.
Right, and it's exciting that Sundance, as well as all these other people, are coming over. They're not selling their assets or their team, their streaming hardware, and just dropping off. So clearly there's some passion involved. This is Activision Blizzard, which is a very important distinction to make here, which means we will have Activision games participating in whatever this ends up being.
Yeah, and for the short term, it's been said that MLG will continue to operate as it has, supporting non-Activision Blizzard games. They have multiple live events scheduled to take place in their Ohio stadium, and those apparently will still happen as planned. And I already talked about this on Overwatchers this morning. Yes, there's a new episode of Overwatchers, everyone. You should go check that out. But to reiterate, I'll be really impressed if in the far future MLG still looks anything like the MLG we know today, and that they still are publisher agnostic.
Good word usage.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let's move on to the next bit. Esports Arena Heroes Rising is happening, tomorrow, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific time. If you've been keeping up, this was kickstarted. So thanks to that Kickstarter reaching $7,533, they have a prize pool of over $11,000 up for grabs. 10 teams will be competing. We have Cloud9, Tempo Storm, Murloc Geniuses, Cognitive, Panda Global, Team Blaze, SK Gaming, the best name ever, Bob Ross Fan Club,
Naturally,
King of Blades Alpha, and OVO Gaming. They are all competing for part of the $11,000+ prize pool. And again, it starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. with show matches. At 4 p.m. Pacific time, there are 2 streams. The main stream is twitch.tv/esportsarena, and the secondary stream is /esportsarena TV. Saturday, the main tournament starts at 11 p.m. Pacific time, and it looks like they're saying it will end at 10 p.m. Pacific. We'll see. Tournaments, tend to go a little long.
Right, yeah. I don't think you ever expect to be out the door at the time they say, but you're invested. You're at home or you're at the location, so who can complain about a tournament going a little longer? Usually means the games are actually good. And this is really exciting because this is fully kickstarted and it's happening.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if everyone out there knows how important that is, but coming from esports, past StarCraft, all sorts of other games, something kickstarted and actually becoming a real thing for esports is a huge deal.
Definitely.
It doesn't always happen.
Definitely in this short of a turnaround also.
Yes, very true.
Like
Gosh,
funded.
the number of documentaries that we've seen funded that went nowhere.
That we haven't seen.
Yeah, that
Saw
never
it funded.
came to light.
Haven't seen the documentary yet. Anyways, And then Sunday will be the final day. It starts at 11 a.m. Pacific. So those will be the last matches culminating in the grand finals. So check it out. I'm excited. This is the first big Heroes tournament this year. It's got a sizable prize pool. It is grassroots. Love it. Bring it on. Check it out. We've got links in the show notes if you don't like listening to my voice and hand typing in the links I'm giving you audibly. So check that out. Let's move on to the match fairness report, which sounds like a segment on the show. Like, I feel like we should have a graphic and a splash and
followed very quickly by the match therapy report,
which is something I've been in great need of lately. Great need.
Someone suggested to me on Twitter that I should put together a soundboard of me saying encouraging comments so they can play them in the background.
I heard that. I saw
while
that.
They do their games.
I saw that tweet exchange, and I want to make this happen. I would pay $5 for the Kyle Ferguson reassuring soundboard. Just like,
if only we had voice packets like they do in Dota, so it's okay. Good job. You could have done better.
Wonderful. Well, this was a forum thread started by Spirian on the official Heroes of the Storm forum, where basically he was trying to corral everyone that, like, if you think you had an unfair matchup, report it here. And he specifically wanted everyone to include a summary, which briefly described why they felt it was unfair, the game mode, the battle tag and ID, your region, your time and time zone, and any other relevant info. And I think this is interesting, and definitely a place where I probably should have taken my grievance that I ended up bringing to Dustin Browder in a place where I only have 140 characters.
Sure. And this is the place for those things.
Yes.
So Dustin Browder is the game director. He is doing what he can. And one of the great things about tweeting at Dustin Browder is you can inspire him to go talk to the team. And that's really what you're hoping for when you go to him. If you just think your match was bad, you should take to the match fairness report section, and Spirian can take a look at that. And he gave us a little report today of how things are looking over there.
Yeah, and he kind of broke it down into some pretty, very easy to understand bullet points, talking about what he called coordination advantage. He said that they are not planning to remove the possibility for solo queue players to match against 4 and 5 player stacks from Quick Match right now. So no plans in the immediate future to do away with that, because that is something we're seeing a lot around the sphere. Are people complaining that their match is unfair because they're going in against a large party while everyone on their team are all solo queue players. And we've talked about this on the show multiple times already. And
it's no surprise to us because we follow this game to that level. Same with our listeners. But there are tons of people out there who, over the Christmas break, were really caught off guard by this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the again, everyone, to reiterate, in case you're new, this may be your first episode, or maybe you just missed the episode where we're talking about that. The way the new matchmaker works, it puts each player's individual MMR or personal skill ranking at a higher grade of importance for the matchmaking than party size. So if you see yourself on a team versus full of solo queuers going against a team of a large pre-made party, chances are, and this is my issue with the rank system, that the overall MMR of the partied people is lower than the overall MMR of all of your solo queued teammates.
Right.
So this is why I like, remember, like, months ago, feels like a year ago now, Kyle, when we were saying, well, we don't really know what's better. This rank number that is kind of not all that transparent, or just showing MMR numbers. The more we talk about this and the more this stuff comes up, I'm kind of like, you should really just show MMR numbers. Because
it's encouraging, and we know it means the system's working.
Right, because if they're giving us all this information, they're being as transparent as I feel like the original idea for the game is allowing them to be. Because before, when we loaded into a game, we couldn't see everyone's rank. And then after they made this matchmaking change, that was one of the included changes in the patch, that when you load in, you will see all 10 players, you will see all 10 players' ranks, unless they are unranked, and so that you can report things like this. However, if someone at rank 14 and someone at rank 9 can, in theory, have the same MMR, what is the point of the rank number? It's not actually giving me useful information.
Right. I mean, in the long run, I still want a system in place that encourages games to be played past the point of where your MMR lands. Because if you continue to win over 50% of your games, you will reach rank 1 eventually, and that's exciting. And there's no reason there can't be a system in place that is rewarding for players who have their MMRs kind of concrete, but they still have encouragement to grind it out a bit.
Gotcha. That's a good point.
We want prizes, right?
Right.
Stickers,
Yeah.
portraits, whatever it may be. But something that encourages people who might, end up in their MMR and really get solidified there to just keep going and feel like they're making progress.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on with some of the other points Spirian made on the subject of coordinated team compositions. He said that they are currently investigating changes that will help limit certain types of team compositions from being formed when solo players are matched into the team. Continuing to say that players who are looking for team compositions that follow the competitive metagame more regularly may want to queue for Hero League as an alternative. And I assume this is partially to address... we saw, what was it, a tweet last week where people were complaining about a bad comp for lane presence, which is a very specific thing that you'd have to bake into the matchmaker to look for. But it was something like a Cho'Gall, an Abathur, a Nova. I forget who the other one was, who the fifth player was. But that
it doesn't matter at that point.
Right. You have a Cho'Gall who's 2 players in one, Abathur who has no lane presence, Nova who effectively has no lane presence, and then a nice traditional hero. It's very hard to actually farm XP in that scenario.
And the more rules you add, the longer the matchmaker takes, which isn't a problem for us who are invested in this game and just want even matches. But then there also might be other rules that I'm concerned with. And one of these ideas I've had is, what if you do this lane presence, thing? What if then Cho'Gall has a higher chance to end up on maps with only 2 lanes? What if I'm amazing at Towers of Doom? Well, let's queue as Cho'Gall all day and grind it out.
I can't see that being the specific fix, like biasing it towards 1 or 2 specific battlegrounds.
Right. No, you would want to do something else.
It would have to be biasing it towards a certain type of team composition.
But what they're saying here is a more general statement, which is very interesting, that they're going to take team compositions into account as a whole. And if you are doing something maybe more meta, you will end up placed against other people doing the meta thing.
Yeah, which is nuts. And I want to know more about that system and how it works, even if it's just from a theoretical standpoint.
Right, and something they've been talking about for a long time is doing individual MMRs for heroes. It's something that is wildly popular, highly requested in StarCraft, so that if I play tons of Zerg and I want to, just have fun and play some Protoss, I'm not fighting at the same level because, of course, I don't have the same skill base. If I queue up as Raynor, cool. If I queue up as Artanis, well, maybe go a little easy on me. That's not fair to my teammates.
This shows you how long it has been since I have played StarCraft ladder. Is there really not a separate ladder for all 3 races?
There is
on
now,
a single account?
as of Legacy of the Void.
Okay, all right, thank
But it took that
God.
long to get it.
Let's say, man, I would be really surprised if that's not already in the game. I'm surprised it took that long, but okay.
Yeah.
Wow. If we were still doing StarCast.
We wouldn't have much to talk about, would we?
The StarCraft's in a damn good place, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's an excellent game, of course.
That is a full package now. Talking about unskilled play, Spirian said that while players are rated and matched for games based on their skill levels, it is not possible for the matchmaking system to predict how a player will perform in their next game, which sounds incredibly obvious when you say it out loud. But I guess it's a good point to bring up.
It is important, right? I mean, unless we have some sort of survey you take every time you load up the game. How do you feel today? I'm about a 5 out of 10. Oh, okay then. Are you sick? Yes, I am. Oh, it just lowers your little meters for The Sims. It just lowers your map awareness if you're sick and raises up your salt if you've had a bad day.
Yeah. Are you feeling tilted or untilted?
I'd say I'm pretty tilted.
There's
today.
there's tilted, untilted, and then there's ready to snap monitor in half.
Right?
Even further down. Yeah, man, that system wouldn't work at all. Everyone would just choose the highest thing so that they get potentially the best teammates.
Fair enough. And then if you pick nothing but like sad faces, the game just closes and like loads up Hearthstone. It says, relax and shut up.
Relax, a new tavern brawl opened up today.
That's, of course, for me, right? Like, I know there's some people out there that are totally tilted by playing Hearthstone.
When you get into the single digits in ranked, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
or you've spent ridiculous amounts of money and you lose to me. That might upset you.
I wouldn't know what that feels like because I'd never lose to you. Yeah.
Yeah, but we also don't duel each other because we want to remain friends.
Yeah, we do. And we don't duel each other in the after shows on Heroes because they tried that once and it was an audio nightmare because neither of us wanted to say anything about our gameplay.
Nope. Not very inspirational, not very interesting.
In case you watch the after show games and wonder why we're always on the same team. It's a real quiet stream when we're not. It's just a lot of us going, damn it. Go over to this thing, everyone else. Even though no one else can talk to us or hear us. Anyway, final thing from Smear, he said on the subject of new hero releases, he said that it is important to note that when a new hero is released, the majority of players are usually attempting to queue as the new hero. When this happens, queue times will increase, causing the matchmaker to begin relaxing its rules, which leads to lower quality games. See? I'm justified in being salty about Lunara.
Sure. I mean, I'm glad he put this in here, though, because for people who have gone through this cycle in MOBAs for a really long time, it's 100% obvious. If you went through World of Warcraft and Death Knights came out and they were everywhere, it's obvious.
Yeah. However, this only affects Quick Match. This doesn't affect Hero League in any way, shape, or form.
Right, because you'll just queue up and have at it.
Queue up, and if you get to draft Lunara, you do, and then...
Right, I don't think he took the time to say the very obvious statement of, by the way, if you go into Heroes League and you see lots of Lunaras, guess what? Lunara's out.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
There is a correlation between heroes being released and them being first pick in Heroes League. We're not sure how that lines up, but we're working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an interesting read. There's even more points that we didn't get into. We didn't want to, just reiterate it, verbatim. Check it out. We've got a link in the show notes, amove.tv/ITN. Had some people asking where show notes are, by the way. They are always linked at the very bottom of the post for the corresponding episode. So if you're looking for episode 84's show notes, go to amove.tv, find the Into the Nexus post for 84, scroll down to the bottom. It's a link to a Google Doc. You get to look at exactly what we look at when we do the show. And there's a lot of links in there for whatever it is we're talking about. So check that out. Kyle, you wanted to talk about Smurfs real fast.
I did. A Reddit user took to Hotslogs and did some research this past week. This was Barrett. And sadly, it has been removed to avoid witch hunts, basically. But he had listed a lot of the names, the most popular names that had come up since the release of the Recruit a Friend. And he searched for everyone with Smurfs in their name. This was Vulture Smurf, not a Smurf. Give me my Vulture Smurf. Like, just a list of ridiculous names. And there was about 4,300 names, including Smurf in it, that were created after the Recruit a Friend.
Was that on just one of the servers? Was that like just NA, or was that across all regions?
This was only NA, yes.
Only NA. Okay, so some really bad statistics, by the way. Because I'm sure plenty of Smurfs didn't put Smurf in their name, but...
No, nor did they include Vulture in all their names, but still interesting to have a number of not only people who made Smurfs, so we know it's well above 4,300, these are just the people who are willing to admit it in their name.
Oh, and Coolfu in the chat room says Barrett is the guy that makes Hotslogs.
Oh, excellent. Well, I guess that's why he had to remove the information.
I guess that does make sense. Whatever the case, the most interesting factoid here is the 4,300 number. There are 4,300 accounts on NA that includes Smurf in their name.
Right. Maybe that's only 1,000 people if we divide that by 4. But still a lot of work.
Hey, man, I have a Smurf account. There's no Smurf in the name of my Smurf account.
That's true, and we don't know about those people.
Exactly. No one knows about my Smurf account. This
thing, isn't it?
This wonderful angel just shows up in your game and you guys win.
Oh, is that how it works?
I'm just. If you guys aren't getting the joke, I'm purposely trying to be like an ass in my egotistical Smurf jokes. So I don't actually believe this about myself. Save the emails. Well, now, Kyle, it is time for our favorite time of the week. It's time for Dustin Browder tweets.
Right. I could be wrong.
Indeed. Highest priority matchmaking bans, matchmaking bans, improved draft, season roll, death recap, ranked play update.
So quite the list.
Yeah. Quite
But
the
this
list.
is important to know because we've only had the negative so far, which is what isn't a high priority, and that's disappointing.
Yeah. And what do you think of the list? I'm pretty happy with it.
Matchmaking, bans, improved draft. Well, that's kind of nebulous, isn't it? I know they want to do some just layout issues. There's a couple of things that are driving artists insane with that layout. Season roll, of course, we've been hoping for that. Death recap, though, is actually part of this, and it's all based around ranked and matchmaking, except for death recap.
Yeah. I would like season roll up there a little, maybe a little further. I think I'll want bans before season roll. So I think I'm okay with that. But improved draft, I don't know what that means, and I don't know how you'd improve it. So feel free to slot season roll in front of that. But I'm splitting hairs here. I think this is a perfectly fine priority list.
Absolutely.
So
now there's lots of things we can be sad about that aren't in here, watching active live games, some sort of esports watch panel thing in game, but clan support, all that sort of stuff. Hey, let's fix the matchmaking, and it is on the top of the list.
Yeah. On that subject, Dustin Browder also said that bans will be released, even though he does still consider the hero pool small. The tweet itself verbatim says draft and bans are being worked on now. It will use the same system we are using in esports today, not waiting on more heroes.
Good.
Yes. That's what I want to hear.
Right. I understand his caution. There are lame possibilities out there where everyone just agrees to ban all the supports just to see what happens and the games go wacky. But hey, if that's part of the strategy, let's have at it and get it in the game.
Yeah. This one will probably make you happy, Kyle. They're discussing how to fix the stun-heavy meta.
What makes you say that?
I'm sorry, I'm getting this confused with your comments from last week about burst and how you think burst is kind of a problem.
Yes.
My bad. I'm lumping you in with other people that have a conglomerate opinion on what is bad for the game.
And I can agree that stunning is a boring part of the game. Maybe not boring, but it's overly frustrating. Just being deleted and feeling there was nothing you could do, and one overstep lost you the game. Particularly when we don't have any sort of core protection. It's something else they're talking about, not to be implemented at any point soon. But Dustin Browder has mentioned that they want to do something to protect the core as long as the 3 keeps are in front and alive. So that you can't just go, we won a team fight after level 20, and then just run right past all the defenses and straight to the core and take it down.
Okay. I'd like to see what the possibilities for that would be.
And how do you reduce a stun-heavy meta? Well, you don't add more stun characters to it. Do you nerf the stuns? Not really, because CC is a part of the actual gameplay. One of the ideas I love that's been thrown out is giving a unstoppable talent for assassins at level 20.
That would be cool.
So it happens across a lot of items in other MOBAs. Dota has its own. Very often, the melee assassins will construct this particular thing, the Black King bar. And you activate it, and it makes you avatar state, which means you are unstoppable, just like Heroes of the Storm. You can't be stunned. And that means, of course, you can just go hog wild in there. The cool thing about the item in Dota is every time you use it, the duration of the avatar goes down. So if you just recently bought it and you're going to use it in a fight, great. You have the full, whatever it may be, 8-second duration of being unstoppable. Wow, that's crazy. But then you use it again, 7 seconds, 6 seconds. And as the game goes on, this item becomes less useful.
Yeah.
It does sound like an auto pick. If suddenly Kerrigan had unstoppable, just, it's her one button, you press 1 and you're unstoppable for 4 seconds, why would you not pick it? So we would need other talents in there that could be interesting.
Couldn't you make an argument, though, that if a talent like that existed, that making such an incredibly stun-heavy composition in the first place wouldn't be as advised? So every single game wouldn't just be stun versus stun, so you'd be forced to pick that. You may be going up against a stun-light composition, so you don't have to take that talent.
That's true, and that is a decision. And I like that strategy.
I do too. I'm also talking about a perfect world. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't always happen. But moving on to more Dustin Browder tweets, he said that there is no ETA on Tyrande nerfs. But basically it means not next week if you're talking about the tweet he's replying to.
Right. He's been a champion and answered this question about 7 times. And slowly we've worked from not on the list, no ETA, guys, I realize it, to just, guys, it's not happening, not next week. Greymane is not going to roll out with a Tyrande nerf, which is a little shocking because she is continuing to climb, getting ever so close to 60% win rate, currently at 58%.
Buff the other supports.
Do you, though?
Maybe not Morales, but but everyone else, yeah, I think so.
I don't. It's her damage that's the problem. The fact that we sacrifice healing power for damage with Tyrande, but her healing abilities are too strong. I think.
I was about to say her healing isn't nearly as bad as it used to be, and once you get overflowing light, if I'm remembering the name of the talent off the top of my head, it's really not an issue at all, as long as she's not. As long as she's not too damaged, so that you don't get the bonus. No, Tyrande's a fantastic healer now, I think.
Yep, she can absolutely solo, and it's not really comp dependent, which is where the issue comes up. So I don't know what you do. Ideally, in a perfect world, everyone gets buffed up to her level, and we don't touch how she is currently because it's great. I mean, how long did we spend on this show talking about how you should never pick Tyrande as a solo? How awful Quick Match was because of Tassadar Tyrande in the mix with the support rule. And now she's in a great place, and I love her power. And Shadowstalk's amazing and being picked all the time, and if anyone ever does anything else, it's wrong. And that's bad.
Yeah. Though we did totally lost the game to a team with a Tyrande that took Starfall this week.
Right. Maybe because she took Starfall. Also,
probably
there's
not.
A huge issue with this character because it is a pretty high skill set you need to be good at her. And if you nerf her down, that means anyone playing her in the lower leagues just won't even touch her. The pro scene might benefit from that, but you have these two extremes. It's like, well, in strategy games, you're spellcasters. And this happened a lot through StarCraft, too. TOO2. But also 2.
As well.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. I'm not sure. At the moment, for me, as someone who traditionally enjoys supports, I'm confused by Malfurion.
Interesting. What makes you...
He can't keep anyone alive in a fight, which makes me wonder why you would even really want him.
Sure, in our current meta, Malfurion can't keep people alive, right?
Correct.
That's an important distinction to make.
Yes.
Because if we're all up against Lenars and Nazebos all day, Malfurion's in a pretty darn good spot. You have a really low cooldown heal that's mana efficient enough, and the heals over time will outpace damage over time.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention his trait, being able to restore mana to your team is amazing. I love his kit. I love what he brings.
Right, so Malfurion actually has one place, for me anyway, and that is when you get both Kael'thas and Jaina on your team. Because there's not enough burst, and there are no other wizards to fill that role in the game right now, and you will probably dominate.
See, that terrifies me, because if any damage goes out on them, you're not saving them.
With Tranquility and the heal over time, if you use it World of Warcraft style before they actually take the damage and those dots are currently rolling, you will be able to pull it off. You will have to avoid, these ambush assassins then, like Kerrigan and Thrall, who will just suddenly delete a character before you can even get any sort of heal off. And we know from Dustin Browder's tweets, if you kind of line them all up and think about the past couple weeks, it sounds like the next hero might be a burst assassin. Because we know it's not a specialist, and we know it's not a warrior, and it seems like it's not a support just judging by what's going on in the background. Everyone is kind of whispering that it's Diablo 3 Wizard to get us another burst in the game. And it works because it's arcane. I think a lot of people are concerned about flavor-wise Lich coming into this game, that being Kel'Thuzad, and he's ice. We got Jaina who's ice, and well.
So you're saying after Greymane?
Right, after Greymane, the suspected hero whispers on the wind is Diablo 3 Wizard.
I would be fine with that.
And it's arcane, so it's got a very unique flavor to it. I think everyone would love that. I don't know if it would be male or female, but it doesn't matter because both voice actors are amazing.
Yes. Which, not necessarily the most important thing for the game, but something I know you and I care very much about.
Right, yes.
Yes. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious. It certainly seems like other support need love. If you go over look at hot slogs, there are so many support just floating around the significantly sub 50% win rate level. Malfurion, Uther, Brightwing, Rhaegar, not in a good place.
No.
So, that being said, I did take Lieutenant Morales into Heroes League for the first time this week, and I will be doing it a lot more.
Nice. Worked out for you?
Worked out very well.
She's a good hero, and people give her that respect she needs to protect her. I am just worlds curious what would happen in this game if suddenly everyone respected Gazlo and protected him and the like. Like, what if every time Illidan jumped Gazlo, your Diablo was like, nope, I got you. I love you, Gazlo.
Not
You're
on
the
my
best."
watch.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that we went from a hero who everyone was poo-pooing, got a tiny buff, still poo-pooing, and then we just kind of go, oh, well, protect her. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that sounds good. Let's all do that.
Hey, guys, if we don't let her die, none of us will die.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's if you're an aspiring tank, it's wonderful to play with Lieutenant Morales because you will be forced to learn to peel very quickly.
Yes, and also to watch your healer's mana bars.
That too. Yelled that a couple times this week. Not the healer, and had to go, guys, healer zoom.
Yeah.
Stop running in. Always good to know. Felt like old 5-man pickup groups back in the WoW days.
Oh, yeah. Well,
With
when
that,
there were mana issues.
Yeah, with that, one tank or sometimes not even tank, that one rogue that's just like, no, speed run. It's like, dude, your healer is completely tapped. There he goes.
Turn your pet off, Hunter.
Exactly. Hero trailers won't happen for all heroes, sadly.
Disappointing, but what do you really have to say about Lunara?
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. When you're doing these more generic characters, maybe we won't want to fill them out. I mean, I think of like Stitches, and that's not a main character in my book. And I mean, Lunara kind of came out of the lore from nowhere. It was like, first daughter of Cenarius, once mentioned. Oh, we made that a character. How neat. So maybe we don't need to hear the story there. But I think we're all a little disappointed. I remember the heydays of these trailers fondly with The Butcher and how well done that one was into the rest of the Diablo guys and how excited that made me for those heroes.
Yeah. Also, another unfortunate tweet. Arena will not be coming in the first quarter of 2016, so don't be waiting for it. Browder said that they got some good feedback from BlizzCon and they are continuing to work on it. And then finally, across multiple of his tweets, Dustin Browder said that he is just baffled that no one is playing Team League.
And the whole team, well, as a whole, believes this. And every time people are coming to a complaint, they're trying not to say it, but they're like, why are you all solo queuing? We have games like World of Warcraft where people meet up. Why isn't this community doing that exact same thing?
Well, I don't know. There's so many reasons. And this is what you and I are going to talk about here. It's obviously our personal opinions. But for me, it's a chore. It's a chore to get 5 people together and go do it. It's not easy to do.
Right.
We don't have a built-in community tool of any type. There's no clans. There's no guild. Something like that would help. But really, the game as a whole, it still feels like it's in beta. There's no incentive to go through. Technically, there's really no incentive to go Hero League, other than increase your rank. And it's the same thing.
Well, and enjoy drafting, which is fun.
Right, which is good. Yes, it is the most fun way to enjoy this game. In my opinion. But there's no incentive. Why do I want to rank up in Team League? What do I get from that?
Which is why we can just really hope that this MLG thing works out. And if there is that incentive for esports to translate directly into Team League rating, that'll be fun.
Yeah. But only time will tell because they haven't said anything about that.
No.
And we still know almost nothing about just standard Hero League, what it's going to look like after we finally do get the new rank system. whatever it may be. What incentives will there be? Is it just going to be StarCraft all over again? It's like, oh yeah, a portrait. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be something more along the lines of Hearthstone, which up until recently I think was lackluster. They implemented the ranked chest. Now it's like, oh cool, if I do better, I'm going to get more golden cards.
Right.
Interested to see if they do anything like that in Heroes of the Storm. But we'll have to see. But I think all of that definitely plays into the reason nobody's playing Team League. Because why do I want to herd cats if there's no cheese at the end of this maze? I don't know why I just put cheese and cats into the same analogy. But I am not Kyle Ferguson.
It is. We had an experience. I've gone into Team League before. We've done it as an after show before, and it just was a bad experience. There wasn't enough other teams for us to get an equal matchup.
Yeah.
And frankly, we got destroyed the 2 or 3 times we went in there, and that was almost a year ago. But
yeah,
there's been no sort of notifications of a major change. We still just believe that it's empty. It might not be, but there's no incentive to get in there.
Yep. I kind of miss being able to have larger teams in Hero League. I really do. Because the fact that there's nowhere for me to go with 3 of my buddies or 2 of my buddies to go enjoy a draft system outside of well, even then couldn't do it even if it was a pre-made. It kind of bugs me.
And there are growing communities right now of people who are performing text-based drafts and just playing custom games.
Right.
Which is cool. That's awesome for the health of the game. It's sad that it's come to this.
Yeah. A lot of things we'd like to see added to the game. And obviously it's all being worked on. I'm just curious how long it's going to be. Like how long until we do get our MMR reset? How long until we see the new ranked mode or even hear anything about it? So. Well,
and we know no Toronto nerfs next week. That's sad. We're going to get Greymane, though, on the 12th. That is happening.
Yep.
We're probably going to get Space King Leoric on that day as well. Maybe there'll be
You were the only person who... everything we're just talking about, and you talk about a skin like it's some big... I love that it's that big for you.
It's a huge deal. Leoric is awesome, and that's an awesome skin. I don't have anything fancy. I'm sporting neutral. I'm level 9 with the dude, and I'm still sporting neutral because it's the best looking one.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his master skin either, man. I feel you there, but I love it's like we're talking about all these game-changing things that need to be added to heroes, and you're like, well, next week, man, we got a new hero. It's like, yeah, okay, that's in line with what we're discussing. That's on the same level, and we've got a skin for Leoric. It's like, Kyle, back it down, man, back it down.
Well, the more skins we add to the game, the cheaper the other ones should become. And as we distance ourselves further from the original heroes and skins that were released on Alpha, that means we can do more interesting prizes. So that's kind of my mental work through of it. If you want ranked chests, the game needs to be out long enough that we can give away basic cards.
Well said. Well, let's move on, shall we? Let's get into this week's strategy discussion.
Let's
Choose
do
a
it.
talent.
Choose a talent.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Impressive work, hero. I think you're ready for more.
Oh, Leoric on the 19th,
Ah,
says the chat.
that's a shame. Kyle, this week you wanted to discuss combos.
Yes. And these are not working together with team combos, nor are they combos you can create with your friends. They are combos of spells and skills that you can do all on your own, and you should have down by muscle memory before you go into Heroes League. If you're already in Heroes League, you don't have to stop playing, of course. But these are things that I expect you to do if you're on my team. I would like to see you perform them. And this comes from a lot of lessons. You know, some of these I'm a little sad that I'm going to talk about today because I've loved blowing my students' minds. And they're like, what? Really? That's how you kill someone in lane? Oh, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I blew his mind. It's awesome. This lesson's going great. But, let's go ahead and put out the information. Of course, we can individual. That's a very different thing. This is radio. Take with it what you can. These are not talent dependent. Some of them are based on your heroic. But when I think about these combos, one of the first quotes that comes to mind is in The Dark Knight, the Joker, talking about being a dog chasing cars. He doesn't know what he'd do if he caught one.
That's not a half bad Heath Ledger.
And that's what I feel like I'm seeing with all these Kael'thas's in games, is you might land a gravity lapse, but then you just go, oh, okay. You start wandering off the other direction. Like, no, you're not done. You can kill him. Or Diablos, you'll overpower, you'll do the pickup. Oh, where'd you put him? You canceled your own body block. You put him on the other side of you. So number one rule for performing all these combos we're going to talk about today is stay calm, because you can blow through all your spells very quickly and you might miss. First and foremost. Also, we're dreaming of a world where you are going to add auto attacks in between there and also be moving around. So you're not just casting your spells, standing static, going to get sniped by a Nova or something along those lines. So the most obvious one we can throw out are the 2-spell kill combos that come with most assassins. And I got one tank here as well and a specialist. Kerrigan's Impaling Blades and Primal Grasp. Pretty obvious.
Yes.
You lay out the Impaling Blades, the circle goes, it has a delay on its pop-up. You Primal Grasp, pull them into it, the stun goes off. If you can't land that combo, your Kerrigan is not ready for Heroes League.
Yeah. And the important thing is here is you were casting Impaling Blades first, Primal Grasp second. However, your target will be hit by Primal Grasp first and impaled second because of the delay on Impaling Blades.
A unique situation, but Kerrigan, very, very important to have that particular combo down. Now, no one plays much Tychus these days, but Tychus has his own as well. Overkill. This is just with the gun, and he's walking around while it fires in a big old cone shape, and then using your frag grenade to hit them back towards you. So aiming past them, grenade goes off, and they are pushed towards you, thereby maintaining your overkill and getting the kill.
Yep. Beautiful when it actually happens. I am not good at this, by the way.
And I am, but it's a wasted skill at the moment, sadly.
Yeah, Tychus needs some love.
A little bit of love. Or, again, like my Gazlo example earlier, he just needs the attention.
Yeah.
Because when I have double support, Tychus is a beast. But I also would like double tank in there. And, well, let's face it, double tank, double support, so Tychus can feel amazing probably isn't the meta build you want to be going. But I did feel amazing. Thank you, everyone who joined my stream Monday.
That sounds delightful. This next one is one I had to pick up when I was teaching myself Gazlo. The Explodium Charge plus Gravo Bomb 3000. Actually, this is right in line, I think, with one that I think is sadly missing from your lineup here, Kyle. The good old Murky Pufferfish and Octograb.
Good observation.
It's a very similar combination. So you throw down your Explodium Charge. It has a small circle effect where it's going to go down. You put your Gravo Bomb basically centered on top of it so that the center of your Gravo Bomb pulls anyone caught in it into the center of your Explodium Charge explosion, therefore stunning them after the Gravo Bomb goes off.
And this is a great example of the keep calm. Because if you land your Explodium Charge, this little circle with the little flag that shows how long until it explodes, and nobody's standing in it, you probably shouldn't Gravity Bomb on top of it. So it's A-okay to start a fight, throw out your Explodium Charge, realize everyone voided the area too quickly, or they're not going to be there for when it explodes, and you don't use the Gravity Bomb. But knowing you can actually land the combo when people are present for it is going to make you a good Gazlo.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially depending on your level of play, people may not be... Because Gravo Bomb has a significantly larger area of effect than your Explodium Charge. Lower levels, if you're ranking up, newer players aren't going to know to get further away than the Explodium Charge area of effect.
Right.
So this is similar to Murky because you want to throw down your Pufferfish first, and then Octograb your target within the area of effect of your Pufferfish so that you're wailing on them during Octograb, and then your Pufferfish goes off dealing massive damage to them.
And with the Murky thing, he sees pro play decently enough, and he sees ranked play more than enough. So people, unlike Gazlo, will be expecting this of you. If you cannot throw out your Pufferfish and then land the Octograb inside that circle, you will upset your teammates.
Yeah. However,
they will wonder why you can't accomplish this needed skill.
Yeah. However, I think it's easier to land than the Gazlo combo because you can accomplish it very quickly. You can throw your Pufferfish and almost immediately, once your global cooldown is finished, get off that Octograb.
It's not the easiest thing in the world if you do certain talent builds. Increasing the size of the Pufferfish explosion makes this just worlds of easy to land.
Yeah.
Definitely give yourself those training wheels and then try to cut that out later for a more efficient brawling spell, if that's what you're doing. Of course, increase pufferfish size. If the whole team's on board with you just pushing all game, that's going to get you some mad XP.
That's how I like playing Murky, so I usually have the increased pufferfish size. But you're absolutely right. If you don't take the increased size, it is a lot more skill dependent to land that combination.
You're also not a mad, dedicated to Murky player who is going to evolve multiple specs to make sure they match their current comp as it evolves, because you first picked him.
True.
You'd pick him last because the whole team looks great, and they have a core group of 4, and you're going to go do your thing.
Yep. On to Jaina.
This one is mad obvious, it seems, but very important. Jaina, Cone of Cold into Blizzard. Now, Blizzard does have a slight delay, so you can do this on both sides. You can actually Blizzard first, the snow starts to fall, and then you land the Cone of Cold. This is really important if you have the Northern Exposure talent at level 16, which gives them vulnerability, 25% increased damage. My main concern here is I just want you to chill everything that you attack before Blizzard comes down, because Blizzard is expensive. It costs a ton of your mana, and you probably, after casting your Blizzard, won't really know what to do with yourselves because that was your whole bag.
Yes.
So make sure everything's ready to go for that sweet Blizzard. And the chat's coming up with some amazing combinations. These are just for yourself. You know, this isn't combos you can perform with other heroes. There's a number of them I love out there. I think the cutest one is Void Prison into Zagara Banelings, because they get time frozen there and they all stack up in one big pile, and as soon as it's done, just boom, Banelings roll in.
It's wonderful. I love it.
Diablo. Overpower, Shadow Charge. And I want you to do it in this order. Please.
In that order.
Yes. There are going to be times, of course, as with all these statements, there's caveats everywhere in a real-time strategy situation. But I want you to pick them up and then push them back towards your team. If you think you can get the kill, of course, charging out, picking them up over you, and accomplishing the body block will be important. But Diablo is probably the most mount-dependent hero in the game. You have very little movement speed ability outside of this until late in the game. You can get certain talents. I want you... It's the only hero, or the only warrior, that I'm perfectly okay with hiding in bushes, because he is a ganktastic guy. So, mount up, ride out. You'll move faster than the dudes on foot, of course. Overpower them over your head. Push them back. Ideally, this puts them into tower range, into, awaiting arms of other heroes to kill them.
Well said. I expect this of all my Diablos.
Let's talk about combos for convenience. And this is because you have very, very important skill shots that can be difficult to land when just the chaos of battle is going on, so you can make them easier for yourself. The first, Skeletal Swing into Drain Hope. Skeletal Swing, 40% slow in a large area. That character is now slowed, meaning it is much easier to land your Drain Hope skill shot on them. You will then accomplish the Drain Hope, which is extremely important for tanking or doing damage as Leor. And if you miss Drain Hope, I think we've all been there. It is a disappointing 12 seconds.
Indeed it is.
Murden has one like this too. Thunderclap. Thunderclap first, and then Stormbolt. Not in every situation, of course, but that is a slow. You will now have an easier time aiming your Stormbolt and hitting what you want.
Yep.
And for beginning Novas out there, and this is, a big, big caveat there, pinning shot first into snipe will help you hit your target. Pinning shot reduces their speed by 25%, and then snipe is going to be that much easier to line up while they're slowed.
Yeah.
This is, of course, countered by talents. Level 1 ambush talent, where you snipe if you break cloak. If you have 1 second window after you break cloak and your snipe does increase damage. Of course, if you're an amazing Nova, you don't care what order you use your spells in. You're just blowing up everything you can.
Yep.
But any slow you can apply before you fire a skill shot is just going to make it easier to land.
Agreed. This is still how I play Nova, because I don't play her often enough.
Right, and landing skill shots is extremely important.
Yep. This next one is a 3-spell combo that I love. Zagara's Maw, drop your pod of roaches, and then Baneling toward that pod. And if you can time it perfectly, your pod will come down, causing because when your pod of roaches lands, it causes damage. before the roaches even come out and start shooting their target. So if you time it correctly, your targets will come out of the maw, your pod will land on whoever is in it, causing damage to them, roaches come out and attack them, and then simultaneously your banelings are smashing into them, and if there are multiple targets in there, you're getting massive splash damage.
And one of the main things you're doing here is increasing the overall value of that infested drop pod. Because when it lands, it does do damage, just like Garrett said. If you're using the spell to just spawn roaches, you're missing out on a huge part of the value. And that 50 mana you're spending for it, along with a 12-second cooldown, has reduced value.
This is one of the most perfect scenarios for it, too, because it is a very small hitbox.
Yes.
There are very few scenarios where your target is more perfectly lined up than multiple people at the center of your maw.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. And then you want to take it home with the 4-spell combo on Kael'thas?
Yes, and this is probably the most complicated one, but this is one that everyone's going to be looking for you to perform. This is the maximized Living Bomb combo, I guess you could say. Living Bomb, when you apply it, does damage over time before it explodes. If you cast a second Living Bomb onto the target, the same target, Living Bomb instantly explodes, dealing its explosion damage, but not completing its entire damage over time before that explosion. So we want to space out our Living Bombs for the most part. If you were playing Kael'thas as someone who is basically waiting around to level 13 to do double Living Bombs and blow everything up, then you were playing him wrong. So you do your spheres, you have your free Living Bomb first. You cast it on the guy in your lane. You can do this at level 1. You get in lane, immediately start thinking about this combo. Free Living Bomb, 100% on a lower cooldown when you use Verdant Spears is what you should be doing every laning phase. You walk out, apply the Verdant Spears Living Bomb to the target. They're on fire. Cool. Most players have experience with Kael'thas and know not to stand around their lane minions. And they will exit the area. Now opening them up for a Gravity Lapse, which stuns the very first target it comes in contact with. They are now outside their lane minions, meaning they can be picked up. Once they're in the air, Flame Strike, not augmented. Serious face.
Do not hit D before you Flame Strike.
No, please don't. Getting free Living Bombs on a reduced cooldown will always be a better use of your spheres. So they're in the air, Flame Strike below them, come back down, explosion hits, and then you use your final Living Bomb to kill them on their way out. The first Living Bomb had its full duration while they were picked up in the air, Flame Striked, and started running away. You hit them with the last one, full duration, dot damage, final explosion, you get the kill.
All assuming no one's there healing them. But yes, we already
tons of assumptions.
We
here.
said screw caveats at the beginning of this, but I just ended that there. Yeah, that is the Kael'thas combination.
And then you can even take this one step further, like I talked about at the start of this strategy section. Living Bomb, auto attack. Gravity Lapse, auto attack. Flame Strike, auto attack. Living Bomb, auto attack. Now,
laugh maniacally.
Yeah, exactly. And then we added 4 auto attacks in there. At level 4, Kael'thas does 104 damage per auto attack. And he's not an auto attack assassin. That's incredible. What if I told you over the course of, 5 seconds, all your spells, I could make them do 400 extra damage? You'd say, yes, please. Well, here's how you do it. And then version 3, the elite version, would be the Living Bomb, auto attack, move. You move closer to them. You keep moving closer to them so that when they land out of the Gravity Lapse, you are in range to continue your auto attack. So Sphere's Living Bomb, auto attack, move. Gravity Lapse, auto attack, move. And so on.
And don't forget to, after using abilities, you sometimes have to retarget your auto attack target.
Yes, as we discussed last week.
Yep. So keep an eye on that. Get your right-click finger ready. And that sums up the combos that Kyle wanted to talk about today. So we're going to move into emails.
Darkness stopped calling.
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
Okay, tell him I'm not here.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Iron Phalanx, with a capital X at the end of Phalanx.
Wow.
Greetings! Do you think we will ever see heroes from Activision games? I would love to see a crossover from Destiny. For example, the Nathan Fillion-voiced Exo Hunter, Cade 6, would be a great start, complete with a Sparrow mount to ride into battle. With there already being guns in the game, it would give the Heroes devs the ability to play around with each of the 3 classes slash subclasses to be flushed out in the talent system. I know Garrett has played a bit, so just imagine your Destiny character in Heroes, and do you think it could work? Keep up the great work. P.S. Loved the Star Wars episode on A Move. Ah, thanks. I would be really surprised if this happened. I find it in the crazy wish headspace, but I think it would be awesome.
Yeah. The fact that you could have, well, we have ETC, right? Who's just downright ridiculous.
Yes.
But Guitar Hero ETC would be interesting.
Oh my God, yeah, you could totally do that, right?
You could have the Doom guy.
They have the rights.
You got all of Call of Duty, which is kind of strange to imagine. Tony Hawk Pro Skater actually made by Activision, so we could get him in there.
Yeah, and it would be the best Tony Hawk game made in the last 10 years.
That original was just magic.
Yes, it was.
Particularly that graffiti mode, man. We would play that for days.
Yeah, 1 was great, 2 was great, Underground was pretty good. And then not all that great after that. Anyways,
1988's Altered Beast. Yeah, who remembers that one?
Bring
it on home, Activision.
Are you looking at a Wikipedia right now?
I am, but also I remember Altered Beast because it had "Rise from Your Grave" with the really bad audio of the time.
I'm trying to think of other obscure Activision games that I played when I was young.
They're not all obscure. You got Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, that's Activision.
At least one of them is.
Okay. not something I have a fond place for personally.
I think it would be extremely jarring, but I also find the current mode in Super Smash Bros. That they're doing really odd, though I understand why, and the fans love it. I don't even think there should be me characters in there.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, Cloud is now in.
Oh, you're just talking about non-Nintendo characters.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I like it there. If for no other reason than we finally got a game where I could make Sonic beat the crap out of Mario and vice versa.
Sure. Mario was a little more on point, I guess, just because it was that same sort of time period, perhaps. But you're right. Sonic does kind of throw it for a loop in the first place. Yeah, bring on the skins, absolutely.
I mean, according to, I completely forgot, Pitfall, we could have the Pitfall guy in Heroes of the Storm.
That'd be cute.
No,
Rainer Pitfall, let's do those kind of skins, for sure.
Oh, skins, okay. All right, I guess I could get behind that. With skin a little ridiculous. But no, man, bring it on. Bring on Destiny. I don't see why not. It could fit. I could see that done in the hero style.
I think they have more than enough characters to keep them busy.
I'm sure, and I'm okay with that as well, and that's why I'm saying I don't think this will ever happen, but I'd be totally down with it if it did happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, next email comes to us from Ryan, and he says, "Hey guys, I've been playing with one of my buddies since around last January. Normally, we have a good time, but one thing that bugs me and the rest of the team is if he thinks it's a bad engagement, he won't join. What makes it worse is that he loves playing Muradin. Oh, that's a bad combination of belief systems." Whenever I tell him to join the team, he just tells me that he doesn't do what the team does if it's a bad idea. How can I get the idea of sticking with the group even if it's not a good idea? Thanks for the help and keep up the great work. I would just stop playing with this person.
Oh my. Well, I'm assuming he doesn't want to do that here.
I know. I'm being harsh for the sake of comedy. It's
funny though, because people who come into tanking for Heroes of the Storm who played World of Warcraft have the exact opposite situation. They're constantly trying to make up for other people's bad ideas.
Yeah.
And they're over-applying themselves because if you let someone die as a tank in a random instance, you might get kicked.
I never made that connection. And now that you've said it, you just blew my mind, man, because the feeling I got keeping people alive in heroics because they pulled too many things, it's like, oh crap, okay, taunt that thing, do everything in my kit to keep that person who made a lackluster decision alive. It's the exact same feeling I get trying to effectively tank in Heroes when things go wrong.
And it's fun. It's fun in World of Warcraft because that's the challenge. Someone messes up, pulls threat. That's when you finally get to use that bizarre ability that just sits on your bar and does nothing, or whatever have you.
Yeah, and like if you're like us and you get into kind of the RP of things, you that's what you want to do, right? You want to be the tank that's just like, no, you to me, and the thing attacks you, and you feel like a total badass.
Exactly.
In Heroes, it is different because you can't just force another player to attack you.
Not yet, anyway.
That would be a really... I don't see how you could force that without making someone lose control of their character, which would be awful.
And that's how it works in other MOBAs. Axe has this power in Dota. You use a sort of enraged scream, and people have to auto-attack you for X number of seconds. It's only like 2. And then the more people attack you, it triggers your other abilities, and you buy items that give stuff against you when people attack you and stuff like that. And you build this sort of build of, hey, scream, and everyone has to auto-attack you. It's no different than being stunned for 2 seconds, but you do lose control of your hero.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess if it's a short enough duration that it's no different than a stun.
But yes, that is not in this game yet. It is an ability we may one day see. I know Blizzard would take its unique spin on it as well, so we wouldn't see that exact character. Actually, Axe is the Hellscream model from Warcraft 3. So you can kind of imagine an axey, big old guy with an axe screaming.
Yep.
Run around in there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So what can he do for his friend, other than having a sit-down talk with him? I need proof. He's got to realize for himself, or you got to make him think you had to incept him, basically.
You have to make him think that he came up with the idea that maybe it would be a better idea to actually support your team.
Hey, I mean,
rather
do this?
Rather than what? Apparently not well.
I mean, I know it can be counted as manipulative, but it's also just a really nice, responsible thing to do for your significant others, your family. Something comes out in a year, and it's going to cost $400.
You heard it here first, everyone. Kyle Ferguson says that it's a responsible thing to do to manipulate your significant others and family members.
Yes, that's true. Well, life's a strategy game. Let's be honest here. People show up to my stream and like, wow, Kyle, I don't know how you were so nice to the guys. Practice. Like, I feel the salt in me, and it builds, and it is frustrating. The reason I'm not freaking out is because I've spent years practicing not freaking out.
I thought you were going to say you just eat a lot of snails. Eat a lot of escargot.
That wouldn't counter the salt.
You would soak it up.
I guess so. I wouldn't delete the salt. At any rate. Let's say, there's a console coming out in a year. It's going to cost $600. Oculus Rift.
Not a console. Not a console.
Well, right, but an object, and it's expensive. And so today you go to your significant other, your family, and say, man, that thing's cool. And they go, yeah, it's cool. No big deal. And then a month later you say, man, that thing's cool. And so when the time eventually gets there, no one's like, whoa, why do you want a $600 something? Are you crazy?
Yeah, instead that person goes, oh, isn't that thing that you've been talking about for 6 months? And you go,
oh, yeah.
It's that thing. You put it on your head and you go on a roller coaster.
Right. This is, of course, prefaced by that you don't say you want everything in the world because then you cry wolf and has no value.
I want a Toyota Supra. Saying I want one has not acquired me a Toyota Supra.
No, but if you kept at it for a year... then people would believe you.
I've been talking about a Toyota Supra for a lot longer than a year. But yeah.
All right. Well, then that's a financial decision.
That's exactly what it is.
That you and your wife have chosen not to make together.
Yes, we have.
As a responsible adult.
And it is a responsible decision.
I'm getting way off.
Keep telling that to myself. No. Okay, so Ryan, first off, the big thing is we've discussed this before. Kyle and I are of the firm belief that it is better to commit to a bad plan than to not commit at all. And it seems like this is the exact issue that you're having. Now, I don't know, maybe your buddy listens to this show. Hey, friend of Ryan's, what I just said. That's really important. Listen to us. However, if he's not, I don't know. You just got to keep talking to him. You have to talk to him if he is receptive to observing some of your replays together. I would highly recommend that. You can learn a lot from a replay, and you can slow things down And you can show him, look, yes, this may not have been the best engagement, but if you had entered at, point A, done XYZ ability, we could have shifted in our favor.
That is important if he is receptive to learning. It is a negative conversation to start because you're already talking in a deficit of accusation. So what you ideally would want to do is have him sit down with the replay and identify who thinks they're calling the shots. Because it's probably not him. If he's not following the team, then clearly they're not following him. And someone else is being more aggressive in that front spot. And it could be anyone. Usually it's an assassin who has, overstepped their bounds. Kael'thas, Kerrigan, someone like just, they're in front, they're going, no, this is the objective. We have to stop the objective. We can't just let this one go and let them have one curse. Oh, jeez. But anyway, they jump in, and it is the tank's job to realize that Kerrigan has now made the call, and this is a full-on engage. He has to support her by getting in front of her. And in fact, if these are squishies, like your Kael'thas keeps thinking he's the one making the calls, setting up all the shots, calling all the team fights, you can body block him. And you can get in front of him and you say no. And you keep stopping him from being the guy in front.
That's interesting.
So
I just learned a lot about myself and my patience for other human beings.
Well, it's a job as a tank. 'Cause ideally, when you get in an engage, you are the tank, and if you're late, you're coming through your team. But whoever is in front is making the call. And very often, I don't want them to do what they might be thinking about. We don't need that tribute as bad as they think we do. But I acknowledge what they've pulled off, and I have to aid them in it.
Do you ever raid lead? This is getting slightly off topic, but it's related, I promise.
I did, in a small guild in late BC.
What did you do with members of your raid that didn't pull their weight and did not improve?
It was very casual, and I just had to take it.
Ah, okay. So, yeah, herein lies the difference between Kyle and I guess, when we attack this. Yeah, because I had very, very different response.
What, did you raid lead?
Yes.
And you had to make some cuts?
Yes.
And that's important if you're doing a progression, serious-based thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it happened. I mean, that kind of what I'm getting to is, it does not sound like that is the situation that you're in, Ryan. It sounds like from the tone of your email that this is just for a good time. And this is also where I find myself when I play with friends nowadays. But it just depends. It depends on what your mindset is. If it is a more casual get-together and you guys just want to have fun, you're weekend warriors, it's the Kyle route. If you're hardcore, it's the Garrett route. You can still be friends. You just can't play heroes. He can't play heroes with you if he's not going to be part of the team.
And yeah, if you want to play seriously, if we do end up getting Team League MMR equals esports fame, then there's some very serious cuts you have to make on your team.
Stuff's going to get real serious real fast.
Yeah. Cool, but scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So nowadays I kind of avoid those situations as much as I can. I don't need that added stress in my life. Nope. It's just fun.
Be fun, video games.
Be fun. Be fun, damn you.
Fun today.
Be fun. Oh, by the way, that thing that you tweeted at me today about tic-tac-toe had me rolling.
I'm glad you enjoyed
You
it.
murdered me, sir. You slayed me. It was wonderful. Thank you.
It'll live on in Twitter. You guys can check it out. But
yeah. Yeah. Just search for at Kyle Ferguson, at Garrett Art, and look for some of our most recent tweets exchanged between each other.
I only once made the mistake in a MOBA of saying, why are you so upset? I play this game for fun. It's a rather volatile thing to say.
I am so okay with that in Quick Match.
Sure.
Man, that I all for you, man. That is the place to go do that. I want to eat your head if I see that in Heroes League.
Well, and saying something like, dude, I play this game to relax. Why are you taking it so serious? Well, you're ruining other people's good time because you're not willing to give it your all. And you can counter that by saying other things, perhaps.
Yeah.
Phrasing. Phrasing is very important online.
I had a Murky the other day in my Hero League game that started things off right away, raising all sorts of red flags with me because he just got in and he's just like cussing up a storm and not like angrily, but like talking up himself in a bunch of sweary slang. Like he's so good and whatnot. And then like we get into the game and he's just farting off, man, just doing nothing that makes any sense. Takes March the Murlocs. Like nothing worked out. And he's just cracking, dick jokes the whole time. Sorry. I don't know what else to call them.
Sure. That's what they are.
And oh man, it was just such a, like, that's like, oh man, like I get it. Yeah. Video games should be fun, but man, don't bring that into this specific game mode. What are you doing?
Yeah, I had a Cho'Gall this week in Heroes League Rank 1, and these two guys insisted that they won every single game they've ever played, of course, and we lost. And they just, and it was the Cho. I was so mind blown. The Cho was the toxic one. And I'm thinking, like, oh my God, like what a poor, silenced, controlled person this Gall must be. Because he or she has the time to type. Because you're Gall.
Yeah.
But Cho's doing all the typing here. And I'm just like, oh my God, does the player Gall like live in a basement and Cho beats them every night? Like, what's going on in this relationship?
I love that you made a lot of assumptions very quickly, sir. You went from 0 to domestic violence very quickly.
I'm a product of the media. What can I say?
Oh man, that's wonderful. Yeah. Also, I'll leave you guys with this personal anecdote. I had my first game of Hero League ever, where we were sitting in the draft lobby drafting our team, and we had the most polite damn player in the world, who was the last pick on our team, and he was hovering over Abathur, and he's like, guys, if everyone is cool with it, I'm a really good Abathur. And I disagree with it. We didn't really have the comp for it. We had double mages, and like, you're just going to die. They're just going to die. We don't have enough bodies, and Symbiote ain't going to cut it. I think I had to first pick Tyrande just because of everything that was going on. I'm like, well, we need heals, and we're going to need some extra damage if this guy, because that was before he had said anything. So I was like, well, we're going to need heals, but we're also going to need more damage. We've got an Abathur in there.
I think you don't really need all this description. First pick Tyrande can just happen these days.
Right. That too. Me personally, not my bag. Anyway, so talking to him, like, man, no, I get it. I trust you. Not sure it's the best choice right here, but go ahead and do it. And we did it, and we got in, and he and I were talking and strategizing, and it was a really positive experience. We did not win, but my Abathur rage has subsided, Kyle.
Well, it's good to hear.
At least when people act like that.
I've been facing some Rexar rage on Blackheart's Bay, but I make that madness happen.
Yeah.
I say, guys, I'm king of coins. Sound good? And people will be like, no, that's an awful plan. And I'm like, no, I know we'll win.
Had a game with Rexar on Blackheart's Bay this week, and it was I've never encountered a player in Heroes that was more full of themselves.
Oh, wow.
He criticized the rest of the team for their draft before the game even started. Then for the entire course of the game, because he's like, guys, I don't know why you didn't take another tank. I'm just merking the whole game. I'm just gonna keep merking. And he's just like, oh yeah, I got another merc. Look how much I'm helping everyone. Like the whole game long, and we were doing great, winning. And he's just like, yeah. At the very end, he goes, you guys are welcome. And it's like, oh jeez, what is it like in your head?
Wow.
So. Because I come from the school of Kyle, where Rexar's a perfectly fine solo tank.
Sure.
And I'm just like...
his ability to watch the turn-in, take the mercs. He's such a great character there.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, yeah, you first picked Rexar. I trust you. Let's do this.
And we have long since derailed from the original conversation here. But it's the same sort of thing, like when a game starts up and someone will be like, good luck, have fun, let's win this. And like all those words separate are perfectly happy statements, but the fact that you chose to say it makes me go, oh no, you have had a bad day, haven't you? And you are just inches away from cracking. And that may not be the case, but it's just, how it's read. And like, oh, let's win this one because you lost all your others?
Yeah, no, I get that. I get reading into it like that. So anyway, there's Kyle and I's personal anecdote hour. Here at the end of Into the Nexus, episode 84. Hope you enjoyed it. That'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks again to our badass patrons, guys. We love you. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Head on over to patreon.com/ITN if you enjoy our show and you want to support what we're doing. Also, drop us an iTunes review if you listen on iTunes. We really appreciate those. This week, we want to thank Jay Matta, who said, I would listen to this podcast if only to hear Kyle's mind-blowingly perfect analogies.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Well, he said if only. So implying that there's a lot more value to the show beyond your analogies, but if that's all the show was, he would still listen.
Excellent.
Cool. Also, thanks to Bob T. Skull, who I could have sworn already reviewed the show, but thanks.
Why not?
And True Ike. Thank you guys for your 5-star reviews. Check us out on amove.tv. Big thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H. and Cheesy Bob. Also, email us, itncast@gmail.com. Catch us live on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're on twitch.tv/amovetv and alphageekradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at itncast. And check out briangriffithmusic.com because he made our intro music and it is snazzy. Kyle, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kyle Ferguson. I encourage you, if you enjoyed that Cho'Gall story, to check out this week's solo Q&A. It was a doozy, and it was beautiful, and I once again had to defend my title, and I regained it in the same day. So a little spoiler there for you. But check that out. The replay show will be this Saturday, and that'll start at 11 a.m. So I had a lesson come up in the afternoon. We're going to move that yet again. Been very busy with those. Check out kyleferguson.com for Heroes of the Storm lessons. And other than that, well, that's it.
That'll do it. Cool. Follow me on Twitter at Garrett Art. That's at GARRETTART. NoMoonArt.com is my graphic design portfolio. That's where you can go check out my work and contract me if you need a graphic designer. And check me out on The Angry Chicken, talking about Hearthstone, The Angry Nerd, talking to myself, and on Embrace of Spoilers, spoiling Star Wars. That's going to do it. Just because we aren't running ads at the top of the show doesn't mean these codes are any less awesome. Use ITN at dogcastsystems.com to get a free 120 gigabyte solid-state drive added onto your amazing gaming rig. And ITN over at tweakedaudio.com will get you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds. So go check them out. We thank them for listening. Also, we've got cups and stuff, coffee mugs, pint glasses, wine glasses over at bit.ly/amovestore. So go check that out as well. That's going to do it. We will see you guys in 1 week's time for episode 85 of Into the Nexus. Until then, good luck, have fun, and Murden, man, join your friends. What are you doing?
Take care.